Is Lizzo about to be canceled? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. Lizzo is trending right now, and not because she has new music out, not because she's working on a new project, not because she's got a new boo in her life. Lizzo's trending because apparently she used a slur in one of her latest songs, and people are pretty upset about it. Now, when I first heard she used a slur, I was assuming a racial slur. So I was trying to figure out which racial slur she used and why. But it's not a racial slur that she's being accused of using. She's being accused of using an ableist slur. Now, if you're not sure what ableist means, a lot of people aren't. Ableist would mean referring to making a derogatory term about disabled people. So sometimes that's going to refer to physical disabilities. Sometimes that's going to refer to mental disabilities. Once I heard it was an ableist slur, I assumed it was the word retarded. Because I remember a time when retarded could be used in an actual legitimate way and nobody got offended. You could be speaking about somebody who was suffering from a condition where their mental growth had been stunted. It had stopped at a certain point. Therefore, their development had been retarded. And that was the term mental retardation, where the mental development of an individual had stopped at a certain point, as even though they continue to grow older. But when I kept looking, searching, people kept talking about it, but people weren't actually saying what the slur was. Finally, I found out what the slur was, and it is the word spaz. I was like, what? Apparently, there was a young lady who suffers from cerebral palsy who says that that is a term, that is a defensive term used against disabled people, and the literal term for cerebral palsy is spastic diplegia. And she says spaz doesn't mean freaked out or crazy. It's an ableist slur. It's 2022. Do better. As I'm looking this up, I'm finding more and more evidence that apparently this had been used as a term. Like, I'm seeing references on the internet that this has actually been used as a slur. I had never known this. I had never heard of it. I know spaz out to mean when you just start bugging out. So if somebody is throwing a fit, throwing a tantrum, that could mean somebody is spazzing out. That's how I've heard of the term used. Where I'm from, that's what I've seen. And there's a way to use the term where, and I think it's the way that Lizzo used it. And she says, I'm a spaz, where she didn't say, I am a spaz. She basically says, I'm going to spaz. And so despite the fact that it could be throwing a tantrum, there's also kind of like a celebratory connotation to it, where you're just like, you're that excited, that happy, that you're just, you're bugging out, you're freaking out. And once again, these are even words that can have a different connotation to them, a different meaning to them. And so you're just celebrating. You're just excited. You're out of control. You're uncontrollably excited. I think that's the best way. That's the most concise way to describe the term, the way she used the term in her song. So I'm a spaz. She's saying I'm gonna be uncontrollably excited. I get what this young lady is saying. And I just learned, like, in doing this video, I learned about some of the usage of the word that I had not been aware of before. I do ask the question, are we getting to a point where we're nitpicking at everything and saying, oh no, that word can have an offensive usage, so don't use the word? Because you got to realize, my question is, there are a lot of words that have multiple meanings, especially in English. In English, there are so many words that have multiple meanings, and they're not just the meanings, but connotations. And so then we have to look at context, and it's a very important part of communication. But I do get that if you're the individual that is of a group that's being targeted by certain language, you're going to feel a certain type of way about it. I get it. My question is, can we get to a point where we can acknowledge that, okay, this word is being used in a different context, and it's not being used offensively or derogatorily to you or to the group of people that you're a member of, a part of? Because she didn't even use it as a noun. She used it as a verb. She used it in a verb in the celebratory connotation. Correction. She doesn't use it in a celebratory way. She's using it in the, like, I'm about to go off on somebody way. So that's my bad. So, but she does use it as a verb. Lizzo in the song is using the word as a verb to denote that she's about to go off on somebody. She's about to go off. People have taken offense. Some people have taken offense of it, but some people are saying, wait a minute, but this is slang. When we're using slang, we have a different meaning to it, and it has, and this is why I'm surprised at the blowback and the backlash, because I didn't know it was even used in the way that this other young lady was talking about. But what Lizzo decided to do was change the lyrics of the song, and so instead of "I'm a spaz," she says "hold me back." But the issue, I think, still remains. Are we getting to a point where, while we're worried about symbolism, instead of actually understanding, when we're worried about symbolism, instead of actually worrying about understanding, instead of looking at the actual context of the word, people want to say, oh, no, it's a ableist slur, and people want to make themselves feel better because, oh, yes, I'm standing up for what's right, and that I'm speaking out against somebody using slurs. Now, in this young lady's case, that wouldn't apply to her. She's somebody who feels personally attacked by the word. I get it. I'm saying that there are individuals who may jump on the bandwagon, and instead of actually doing something to help a young lady like that, instead of actually looking at this young lady as a human being, fully fleshed out individual, they want to make themselves feel better by virtue signaling. The question is, are we getting too sensitive? Are we overly sensitive? Are we nitpicking? Are we looking at things that don't really matter, or don't matter as much more significant things could be discussed and could be addressed? Are we focused on symbolism to avoid having to do the actual work? Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section on whether you think this was a warranted case of people being upset, whether you think Lizzo should have changed the lyrics, whether you think Lizzo should have said, wait a minute, I'm not even using it in that way. I get what you're saying, and I won't ever use it in that connotation, but that's not the connotation and the context in which I use that word. Or do you think she did the right thing in changing the lyrics and accommodating this community that felt some type of way about the word? Let me know your thoughts below. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.